Cory, what were you doing in November of 1994?
Oh, I was still in high school back then.
Oh, man. Well, we've got a Florida freak today who was definitely a busy boy in November 1994 and has been busy every month since.
Wow, that sounds great. Well, how far would you go to be a cool daddy-o? Well, we're going to find out.
All right. And later we're also going to have a possible world record holder for a freaky Florida crime spree. And by the way,
Get us on the phone.
Extra bonus, he's naked.
Oh, that's the best part. All that and more coming up on this week's episode of the Florida Freak Show.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! Ladies and gents, boys and girls, step right up for the Florida Freak Show!
Welcome back to the Florida Freak Show. I'm Cory O'Donnell.
And I'm Kirsten O'Donnell.
And if you've ever read a Florida news story online or seen a Sunshine State newscast, you know that Florida's greatest export are weird stories about the people who live and play here, and we have a few of those. Do we not, Kirsten?
As always, ripped from the headlines, right?
Rip them right out of those headlines.
All right, our first story comes to us from CBS Miami. A Jupiter police officer spotted a Jeep making an illegal U-turn and then speeding away at a little after midnight last Monday. The officer followed, and the Jeep actually reached speeds of 85 miles an hour in a 45 zone
Ooh.
before he was able to pull it over.
85 and a 45.
So
Wow.
imagine the officer's surprise when he found the driver was a 12-year-old girl.
Wow.
Yeah. The Jeep actually didn't belong to her. Surprise.
Well, that's good. She's not on the title?
No, it
Okay.
belonged to 41-year-old Sean Michelson, who was also in the car at the time. He told the officer that he's friends with the girl's mother and that the girl and one of her friends were staying with him.
Oh, okay.
So Michelson said the girl asked if she could drive the Jeep.
Of course.
So he thought it would be cool, and he was just trying to be a cool father.
Cool father. Always gets you in trouble.
Right. Michelson, by the way, also told officers that he had been drinking, as always.
Yep.
When the officer asked the 12-year-old why she was driving so fast, she said Michelson told her to.
Uh-oh, of course.
Yes, Michelson is charged with child neglect, allowing an unauthorized person to drive, and also for buying the girls some vape pens,
Oh.
thus contributing to the delinquency of minors.
Well, this guy is really taking cool dads to the next level.
He is.
But I understand because it is very important to be a cool dad. I'm sure that it is. I mean, you want to impress, even if it means threatening your life, right?
Right. I think there's no better way to, convince your lady friend to maybe take things to the next level with you than maybe, risking her daughter's life in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prove your value.
Perfect. Proved value.
It's like the
Is
dentist
this
system.
the dentist system, right? We're going with that already? That's great. I understand exactly what you mean. I was thinking, like, when I was listening to this story, that maybe you're familiar with the video game Grand Theft Auto.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they
you
always
pick up hookers, you buy some blow, you
can
run over a few people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to have a cool dad mode for GTA, right?
I think it's just a whole new game. Instead of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, it's Grand Theft Auto Cool Dad.
Well, and if you have a cool dad that's riding shotgun with you, it almost makes some of these really awful things that you're doing in the video game seem a little...
Dad approved.
Dad approved. Dad told me to drive 85 and a 45.
Dad
but
approved.
I get it. The stakes are very high to be a cool dad. There's a lot of pressure on this whole thing.
There is a lot of pressure, especially, Father's Day.
Right around the corner.
Father's Day is right around the corner.
Yeah, and you want to spend more time, with dad, and you want to spend more time with the kids.
Quality time.
Yeah.
Quality time for Father's Day. And I think he's probably just trying to earn some Father's Day points,
Yeah.
to rack up that sweet gift on Father's Day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are neckties still a thing? Do
Oh,
dads
yeah.
still get neckties?
Yeah, they're definitely coming
Only
back.
if you're a banker or an attorney, I'm guessing.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, it's not saying it's a great gift, but it's still a thing.
Matching tie and COVID mask.
Ooh, that's
right?
a great
nice
idea.
paisley tie with a mask.
Well, and it just continues it right down.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
from
a
the
nice
mouth right
flow.
down to the neck. What a great idea.
I'm wondering what you get this guy for Father's Day, though. I mean, he's got the Jeep, maybe some sweet rims.
Oh, yeah.
Truck nuts.
Truck nuts, yes.
Totally
Let's bring
seems like a
those
truck
back.
nuts kind of guy.
We're so worried about neckties.
What do you mean bring them back? I see them almost every day.
Oh,
when
you're
I'm
still seeing them? Okay,
driving.
that makes me feel so much better. I was thinking that they were just a fad.
Oh no. Are radar detectors still a thing? Could we maybe get him a radar detector?
They were so big when I was a kid. I don't know if they're still a thing or not, but yeah, radar detectors are just a good idea in general.
I think so. I mean, he already has what every cool dad needs, which is a designated driver.
Yes.
He did say he was drinking.
Yeah.
Who better to be your designated driver than somebody who
super-
isn't going to turn drinking age for another decade?
Yeah, I'm really glad that he was upfront about the fact that he was drinking and that it was, really cool that he had the DD right there, regardless of what their age is. It's just important, and it really came in handy.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. So happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. That's a great pick-me-up Father's Day story.
All right, moving on from Fox 13 in Tampa. Our listeners, especially those in the Tampa area, may remember the backstory on this one. About a year and a half ago, a Hernando County commissioner, Nick Nicholson, pleaded no contest to a handful of prostitution-related charges.
Oh, Nick.
Then Governor Rick Scott actually removed Nicholson from the commission after deputies discovered that Nicholson was living with a prostitute and doing what one does with an in-house prostitute, which would be paying her for her services.
As you do.
As you do.
Right.
So this being Florida, I'm sure you can imagine what disgraced former commissioner Nick Nicholson is doing now, right?
Why don't you tell us, Kirsten?
Well, he has filed to run for his old commission seat in the next election.
Oh, what a great idea.
Right? Now,
Yeah.
he doesn't have a whole lot of support from his former colleagues.
Hard to believe.
Surprise.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the current commissioners, Jeff Holcomb, is also chair of the Hernando County GOP, and he released a statement that he was disgusted by Nicholson's arrogance, that Nicholson was relying on voters not paying attention so that he could sneak a win. And he also urged Republicans to choose one of the other three candidates and, quote, send Nick home for good.
Well, I can totally get this. I get this on so many levels. It's relying on voters not paying attention. That's like the playbook for any politician, right? Especially a politician that doesn't expect to win. It's like, I don't want anybody coming out to vote at all, if possible, so that I can, give my chances.
I mean, let's face it. He's got name recognition.
Yeah.
You know the name Nick Nicholson.
You know the name.
I mean, how do you forget a name like Nick Nicholson? It'd be like if you were named Cory Coreyson.
Yeah.
Steve Stevens. I mean.
Can I get my name changed?
Michael Michaels.
Yeah. Cory Coreyson. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the name recognition. Now, I think it's interesting that the GOP lead is saying to send Nick home for good, because that to me doesn't sound like a big punishment. Home has an in-house prostitute.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I was not even thinking about that. It's like maybe home is not where he wants to be at all, but having an in-house prostitute, I mean, that's got to be a big win.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume
how does that
that's
even happen? Did the prostitute come first? Is this a chicken and the egg type thing? It's like,
well, you know how sometimes you buy a house and it comes with some furniture or with the washer and dryer. Maybe
it's like an added benefit,
right? A little amenity,
Yeah.
An amenity that came with the home. It was probably written straight into the mortgage.
Oh, it's actually really smart to get that handled ahead of time.
That's right. That way you can finance the whole deal.
Yeah.
Now, we actually, we talk a little bit and joke a little bit about politicians in Florida and voters not paying a whole lot of attention to scandals and that sort of thing. But,
right.
We had a situation not that different from all of this in our area once. Not long after we moved here, the Lee County manager
Right.
was unceremoniously released of his duties after a scandal.
I remember this, yeah.
Sending some pretty naughty emails on the company email account, right?
Yeah, it kind of goes along the way of like, okay, so gotta lay low for a little bit.
Right, yeah. The FBI was investigating for something much more shady and nefarious, and I don't think they found that, but they found all the nudie emails,
Right.
So he got the boot, and then what happened, Cory?
Well, then he ends up a few years later becoming like the mayor of Fort Myers Beach.
Well,
right?
the
town manager
of Fort Myers Beach, yeah, which of course was another job that he ended up getting fired from.
Yeah,
not for naughty emails, but because oops, I forgot to pay a $3 million water bill.
Oops, that
Oops,
just happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's Florida and corrupt politicians just go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, I think so. People say that about Chicago, but everything weird happens in Florida.
Right.
So now that wasn't the only commission making news last week.
Oh, good. More commissions making news.
Yes. We also have from WPTV.com last week, Surfside, Florida Town Commission had a contentious discussion about a proposed anti-discrimination resolution on a Zoom meeting.
Oh, a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Very popular these days.
Right, absolutely. You got to get the town business going.
Yep.
You've got to have the public meeting.
And you have to have everybody present.
Absolutely. So Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett was offering his views on the resolution when he was interrupted by Commissioner Ileana Salzhauer.
Okay.
So he muted her.
That seems pretty par for the course. I mean, one person is speaking, the other one probably shouldn't be interrupting.
Right. So Commissioner Salzhauer responded the only way she could, non-verbally.
Okay.
By displaying her two middle
raising
fingers.
Raising her hand?
Yes. Nope, not raising her hand. Well, raising her fingers.
Oh.
Yes,
wow.
raising both middle fingers online during the public town commission meeting.
Wow, that seems right along with parliamentary procedure.
Robert's Rules of Orders there. In an interview afterwards
Point of finger?
with the Miami Herald, she admitted it wasn't, quote, ideal behavior, but then said, as a native New Yorker, it's what she does. Mayor Burkett said the ordeal was an embarrassment for the town.
Well, I guess, when talking isn't enough, then you always just hit them with the double-barrel birds, right?
Right, guns blazing, man.
bird shot right out of the shotgun.
The bird is the word.
Not ideal behavior. This isn't ideal behavior in regular life, let alone like in the decorum of a public meeting with other public elected officials.
Maybe it should be, though.
Well, they would certainly be must-see TV then.
That's true.
Yeah.
There you go. You get more people to attend these meetings, watch these meetings. People aren't interested in their local government. What better way to get them interested?
Yeah, sometimes you have to resort to shock value in order to get that to happen. Yeah. Yeah, imagine if this had happened on the dais, like in the parlance of a regular public meeting and not just on Zoom. I mean, it's good to know that we can still annoy, even when we're still annoy one another, even when social distancing is happening.
I think that's important. Yeah. And honestly, this being a Zoom meeting, I think we should all just be glad that everyone was wearing pants.
Right. I mean, and it's
I assume everyone was wearing pants.
It is a slippery slope. I mean, if you're okay with giving like double middle fingers, you may be sans trowel below the belt.
Very true. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, though, this is another example of how sometimes these Florida stories, you really can't blame Florida. I mean, she blames the fact that she responded that way on the fact that she's from New York. It's not always Florida that brings out this behavior.
Yeah, sometimes it can be brought to Florida from parts unknown or parts elsewhere.
Imported.
Yeah, imported in. I'm walking here.
It's
like Rizzo from not Urban Cowboy, but Midnight Cowboy.
That's okay. I almost just said drugstore cowboy.
Yeah, always comes to my head. Urban, drugstore, then Midnight. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Midnight Cowboy, 1969. Look it up if you haven't seen it.
I'm walking here.
All
right. Our next story comes to us from ABCActionNews.com. Last week, a federal judge in Tampa sentenced 71-year-old Glenn Hoyt Harrison to 3 years and 5 months in federal prison for the theft of government funds.
Oh.
Harrison, who lives in Hudson, Florida, was collecting his mother's Social Security checks. The problem is that his mother died more than 23 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
No one ever reported her death to the Social Security Administration. So from November 1994 until December 2017, the checks kept coming and Harrison kept cashing them for a total of $363,344.10.
Wow.
So in addition to spending some time in federal prison, Harrison must also repay the stolen money.
Oh, that's going to be tough. That's not going to be good. So this is a fascinating social experiment. So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If money in the form of a check just started showing up in the mail, what would you do?
I mean, are you dead in this situation?
Let's hope. Okay.
Like, is it your unemployment checks? Because those are going to end pretty soon anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's say that I have passed and that's what's happening.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I mean, it might just be sympathy money, sympathy cash.
Could be.
Some people send flowers.
Yeah.
Some people might send checks. I
Right.
don't know. I've never been in that situation before.
It's hard to say. I'm just thinking to myself that it could be hard to act in a prudent manner. You know, if you just start seeing these checks coming in. I mean, this isn't me talking. I'm just asking for a friend.
You know what? It's very awkward to correct people after a while, though. It's
Yeah.
like, I have a difficult to pronounce name,
Yeah.
I've been told.
Right.
Kirsten. People
Rhymes
call
with
me
beer.
That's right. People call me Kristen. People call me Kirsten.
Yeah.
People call me Christine. And you can correct them once or twice,
Right.
but they'll still keep mispronouncing it.
Yep.
And at some point you just go, oh, to heck with it. And you just let them mispronounce it. And then, and this happened with a friend of ours, 2 years later when somebody else corrects them, they get all upset.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've been saying your name wrong all the time. But you haven't been correcting them. I feel like he went through, this is a long story and a very difficult explanation, but I feel like this is what he went through. Like maybe he tried.
He tried. He might have
Maybe
tried.
he tried. Maybe he said, you know what, Mom's dead. Mom's
Yeah.
dead. And then the checks kept coming. And at some point, you can't correct people anymore.
You're right.
It
And
just becomes offensive.
And you almost feel like if I've made the effort to do something about this, but nothing's being done. So, far be
Might
it
as
from
well
me.
cash 'em.
Yeah, I'm not just going to leave them like piling up.
No, I'm not just going to stick them to the fridge on a magnet.
It's not like you're in Seinfeld and you're getting all these small royalty checks and it's like, I feel bad about cashing these checks of like a couple of cents. Or you don't want to have to endorse them on the back or whatever. Maybe that's what the government should do. Should just always send these checks in the forms of very small increments.
So instead of sending $1,000 check a month,
Send 1,000 checks.
send $1,001 checks a
$1
month.
checks a month.
I feel like that might save the post office.
Who knows?
Honestly.
Yeah. Well, and it's just the whole, I don't want to have to endorse all those, or it just becomes a pain, and maybe some of them, just an idea, just throwing it out there for the government to do. $363,000.
And $344.10 on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just rounding. And speaking of rounding, I mean, this just feels like, a rounding error gone really, really wrong. But that money, that seems like a lot of money, but it's spread over 23 years. It's almost like stumbling upon like a retirement plan, like somebody that's just giving you this money over a long period of time.
It was his mother's retirement plan in many ways.
And then just having it blow up in your face because you didn't do exactly what was.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming that he gets some kind of installment plan to pay this back.
Oh, I would hope so.
But at 71, I mean, how many installments do they give you?
Right.
If he were to live to be 100, he would have to pay close to $40 a day every single day until he turns 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money. 40 bucks one day isn't bad. $40 every day?
$40 every day. That is not the price of a cup of coffee.
No, not at all.
No.
So he's been doing this since November 1994.
Yeah.
And I already asked you, what were you doing in November 1994? And you were in high school.
High school.
You were probably
preparing
playing in basketball
for my
games.
for my final high school basketball season. So yeah. That's where my headspace was at.
So November 1994, just to give you some perspective on how long ago it was that these checks started coming in.
Right.
In November 1994, the NFL announced that the Jacksonville Jaguars would be the newest team to join the league.
They announced it.
They announced it.
So it wasn't even the first year
No.
that they were there. That was just the announcement.
Just the announcement.
Wow.
In November 1994, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was killed in prison.
Wow. I feel like that happened a longer time ago than that.
It was a long time
ago. I know
ago.
it's 23 years, but it feels like 94 was just yesterday sometimes.
The number one song in the country.
Let me guess.
It was the number one song for like a good 3-month stretch. So
I'm gonna guess it's a Mariah Carey song.
no, but you're not far off.
Okay. Boys to Men.
Yes.
Oh, I should have known that. I mean, this is my senior year we're talking about.
I'll Make Love to You
Yeah.
by Boys to Men was the number one song.
Oh yeah. I should have known it. Oh, if I just would have thought a little bit longer about it.
And in perhaps a very poetic coincidence, this was 1 month before the release of the film Dumb and Dumber.
A classic.
So I feel like maybe that's a little synchronicity right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a Dumb and Dumber kind of move.
Yeah. Just a little bit of info for our listeners. Kirsten has never actually seen Dumb and Dumber.
I have fallen asleep to it many times.
Yeah, it's a favorite movie of mine. She's never seen it.
I
has
detest it.
No desire to see it.
No.
Yeah, so I'm guessing she won't be watching any of the sequels either, or prequels, as they were.
No.
All right.
No, will not.
Thanks for that little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's do one more story.
One more story.
One more story. And did you feel like anything was missing in last week's podcast?
I feel like there could have been a little bit more skin.
That is exactly it. We
Right.
had no naked Florida criminals.
It just wouldn't be Florida, especially in this heat that we're dealing with. We need a little bit more nudity.
We're going to get some.
Yeah.
This one from Click Orlando.
Especially for a podcast, an audio format, we need more nudity.
Got to sex it up.
Yep.
All right, this one from clickorlando.com, and buckle up because we are about to go for quite a ride here.
Okay. Hands and feet inside at all times, folks.
That's right. Escambia County Sheriff's deputies received a call late Wednesday morning from a diner inside a Pensacola flea market. Witnesses reported 23-year-old LaHorace Pickett was kicking and punching a coin machine. He then exposed himself and started screaming, "Call the cops, the dead are rising."
Kicking and punching a coin machine, then exposed himself.
Yeah.
And started, screaming, "Call the cops, dead are rising."
The dead are rising.
All right.
After-
Just trying to follow along.
After reportedly then attacking a customer and a diner employee, Pickett was chased out of the diner to the parking lot where he stripped completely naked and stole someone's Chevy Sonic, leaving behind a bag with his clothes and a pistol.
Bag of with clothes and a pistol. Okay.
20 minutes later, deputies got another call
Okay.
from an elderly woman a few blocks away from the flea market saying a man had grabbed her hair, tried to kiss her, then threatened to kill her. Guess who it was?
Was it LaHorace?
It very well may have
LaHorace
been.
Pickett grabbing hair, tried to kiss her, then threatened to kill her, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the correct
That's
order.
the courting
That's the
process
correct-
in action. Okay.
Deputies say he then tried to break into an RV and got in another violent confrontation.
Okay.
The affidavit goes on to say that along the way, he also dropped his backpack, which contained a throwing star, handgun ammo, and a bag of synthetic marijuana.
A throwing star.
A throwing star.
Handgun ammo, which would go with the throwing star. I mean, they go hand in hand, so it makes sense. And a bag of synthetic marijuana. Okay.
So by the time deputies got him into custody, a third report had come in saying that Pickett had ripped a mailbox out of the ground, broke into a home, and broke a TV.
Wow.
Records show that at that point, he was no longer naked. Pickett was then wearing a green house coat, which I can imagine was also stolen and just didn't make the police report.
There wasn't enough room on the page to add it to the police
Probably
report.
not,
Yeah.
no. So Pickett was arrested on 19 charges, all committed in less than 1 hour.
19 charges in 60 minutes.
Less than 60 minutes.
Less than 60 minutes.
Yeah. I know there's a lot to unpack here, but I think the first thing is this could be some kind of a record, right?
Yeah.
I
Get
mean,
Guinness on the phone.
Yes.
We got to figure this out.
that could be an offense every 3 minutes, and that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. So the first thing that I think of when I hear this story, and it's something that you're very familiar with, is this guy's performed the Gordie Howe hat trick of crime. If you're not a hockey fan,
And shame on you if you're not.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm from the Detroit area. I'm very passionate about these things.
the Gordie Howe hat trick. So a hat trick is 3 goals in a game. Gordie Howe hat trick, named after the greatest hockey player of all time, Gordie
Darn
Howe,
right.
is a goal, an assist, and a fight.
Yeah.
So it's
all
like,
around, you are a man.
yeah, it's sort of like, the end all be all that a hockey player can do. It's like you're sticking up for your team, you're assisting a teammate in a goal, and then you're scoring a goal yourself. You're putting the team on your back. And I feel like LaHorace put the team on his back.
What team would that be exactly?
The other thing that I think of is
there is no Horison team.
Sometimes there would be a joke that would sometimes happen in the newsroom that we would talk about, like on a slow news day. You would always hear like somebody, and when I say this, I mean this as a joke. Somebody go out there and create some news.
Yeah, go light a fire.
Go light a
do
fire,
something.
or something like that. This guy did that.
He created enough
to the nth degree.
Yeah, he created enough news for like a week's worth of newscasts.
This guy's a walking newscast.
He really is.
All in one. Like they just could have called it the LaHorace Hour.
Oh, that would be amazing. Honestly, he could be another Grand Theft Auto character.
He really could. Like we talked about Grand Theft Auto.
Or at least a
earlier.
video game character.
Yeah. So I think this is another great character to add to the game. I mean, get naked, punch a coin machine, grab some hair, kiss somebody, threaten to kill him, all while rocking a sweet pea house coat. I mean, come on. You're right. That's a video game character come to life.
I wouldn't know which button did which on the controller. I'd be too confused. I'd be wanting to, assault somebody, and instead I'd be taking my clothes off. I don't know how I'd be able to handle it.
I just
too many
know
buttons.
That getting
too
that
many
house
functions.
coat would be like the end all be all in the game. Like finding that just like out there in the realm.
ether.
Yeah, in the ether. And getting that is like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
With the green house coat, is he going for comfort? Is he going for speed? Like you could put it on and take it off really fast? Like what is the goal of the house coat?
Yeah, I think it's convenience.
He's not going for sexy.
No, it's convenience. Well, we were just at, there are so many house coats out there in Florida. Like
it's true.
We were just at Home Depot.
Oh, he was trying to blend in.
Yeah, we were just at Home Depot earlier today, and it was like there were house coats everywhere. Like it's just crazy. Like it's
doing your home improvement in your house coat. Why not?
It's just important, And I think being that we're all sheltering in place, or some of us are, a house coat is just one of those items you absolutely need.
It's got to be in your bug out bag.
It's an essential item. Yeah, but I really feel like this video game character could challenge Mario to be the greatest video game character of all time. Yeah.
I like it.
And yeah.
Oh, you could have all sorts of spin-off games like Mario, like Horace Kart.
Right. Oh, that'd be great. I love it. I love this idea.
Love Horace Kart.
More and more, the more and more we talk about it.
I do want to ask one other question.
Sure.
The whole call the cops, the dead are rising thing. I think this really verifies something that we've known here in Florida for several years now, which is when the zombie uprising happens, it will start in Florida.
It will start in Florida, and it will be just as crazy as this whole thing that happened in an hour.
The Walking Dead got it wrong.
Everybody doing it.
Yeah, The Walking Dead got it wrong.
We'll all be punching coin machines.
Yeah, it's starting in Florida.
Yeah.
George Romero knew.
Yeah.
He shot Day of the Dead here.
Right.
He knew.
He
Walking Dead got it wrong.
Yep.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. They were a state
Prepare
too far
yourself.
away. Yep. It's got to be Florida.
Well, and let's face it, here we're more prepared for it because we already have our hurricane kits.
Yep.
Your hurricane kit and your zombie kit are not that different.
Yeah. We're ready for some kind of an apocalypse every year that happens, for a few weeks every year with hurricane season. So we're prepared.
I do have to say, though, we went through kind of a weird apocalyptic zombie situation here at the start of this whole COVID thing.
Sure, 2020's just been an apocalypse all year long.
Has. I honestly, I expected the apocalypse to have more, I don't know, guns and motorcycles,
sure,
and less hoarding of toilet paper.
The year is still young. We can. We're
now that we've all got our toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper is the gateway into it, and then guns and motorcycles comes later.
Okay.
Mad Max, apparel. You might want to get it now while you're thinking about it. You know.
Right. So Thunderdome's not until December.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I
Give us
wasn't
some more-
aware. We've still
we
got to
need more
deal with the
shopping
murder
days.
hornets. We've
Yeah.
still got to, there's a few more things still to deal with.
We definitely need more shopping days.
All right. Well, what did we learn this week?
Oh, what didn't we learn? We learned that cool dads, as Rick James would say, cool dad's a hell of a drug.
We also learned, not that we didn't know this, the bar is set pretty low to be a politician in Florida.
Oh, it is limbo low. It is really, really low. We also learned that when anything happens, just alert Social Security immediately. Don't think twice about it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Especially don't collect $200.
No.
Just let them know, because just cover your bases.
That's right. And finally, we learned that if you are trying to set the land speed record for a Florida crime spree, you're going to have your work cut out for you.
LaHorace has set that bar from low to high.
Oh, yeah. That is a high bar.
Yep.
So those were our freakiest Florida finds for the week. And as always, you can find plenty of other kooky news stories from the Sunshine State on our Facebook and Twitter pages.
That's right. That's at FLA Freak Show. And if you see a Florida story that we miss, feel free to share it with us. Also, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. It really helps us out. Until next time, I'm Cory O'Donnell.
And I'm Kirsten O'Donnell. We will be back next week. And until then, let your Florida freak flag fly.